If I look back at every little thing that aligned for me, it all worked out. Yet I spent so much time worrying that it wouldn't work out moving forward. I'm sure you have too, and we're not doing that anymore. Welcome to Wandering the Wild Mess with Heather Morgan. I am so happy you're here. All right, guys, this episode, you need to hear it. I already know. I can already feel it in your soul. I know that's why you clicked on the listen button, because you needed to realize that life has always worked out for you up until this point. And why you doubt that it will moving ahead is a waste of time. And that's where we get into what has been so near and dear to my heart right now, how I'm moving through the world, and maybe a buzzword now, but in alignment. So what does that mean? Let's get into it. So one of the things, if you listen to the previous episode before this, I said I was going to have a guest. And I'll tell you right now, spoiler alert, I don't. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's because I'm moving in alignment. And I guess when I started this podcast, because so many people that have podcasts do interviews and interview people and have guests on, I always felt like that's something that I had to do. I had to have a guest because everyone wants to be a guest, or everyone has guests, and I have to fit in that box because I have a podcast. And so I'm over there making it up in my head that everyone must be waiting for a guest. Although I hadn't had one single listener ask me, when am I going to have a guest? It was only people that wanted to be a guest asking, when can I be a guest? But I thought to myself, well, I really want it to be good because I care about y'all and you listen and you hear me out and I appreciate it so much and I want to give so much value to you that I'm like, I better give them a guest. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, I just don't feel like that's the right time. Like I want it to be the right interview. I want it to be the right person. I want it to be the right time for me where I feel like I'm doing it in alignment with how I see this podcast going, even though I don't even know all the visions of everything I see it. But I know that the reason that I was going to have a guest was because I felt obligated, or that I owed my listeners a guest, when really at the end of the day, didn't feel aligned for me. It felt forced. It felt out of obligation. It felt out of, this is what you do because you're a podcast host. And I realized that's the exact opposite of the way I've been living my life. And the way that I would love to, influence you, inspire you, motivate you to move through your own life is in alignment with what feels right for you. Not because other people are saying, you have a podcast, don't you have guests, So really, it kind of brought me to the thought process of, I wanted to talk to everyone about, and you guys, about alignment, but then I wasn't going to move through my own life in alignment. And so therefore, it's not the aligned time to have a guest, but it is the aligned time to talk about moving through the world in alignment. And I want to kind of share with you what that is a little more if you're not on that path of the inner work and thinking about some kind of spiritual woo-woo words maybe to you. And when you hear it, you're like, okay, sure. But I'm doing that in full embodiment. And there's been a lot going on behind the scenes in my life that I've been making a lot of decisions to move in alignment. And that takes this word that I don't hear used a lot, but self-leadership. And self-leadership is your ability to make decisions for yourself based on what's best for you, because you're leading yourself. And that, when you take on that self-leadership and you're making and doing the things that feel right for you, that is like moving in alignment. That is like living in alignment, because what you want to do for yourself is what you're doing. And so it's not like about being selfish. It's not that you're disregarding anyone else, but you're not making decisions in your life purely about what you perceive other people to want from you, need from you, make you feel obligated to do. And I'll give you like an example of something, because moving in alignment doesn't mean like it's 24/7 ease and that everything just aligns and you're flowing through. Although I'm delusional enough to believe that most of the time, but right, I still have to do things that don't always feel good every single moment. So perfect example of like alignment and misalignment situations. And I like to tell you, because the other day, before I get into it, let me digress. I was at this workout class and there was this playlist, and I I'm big into music, as y'all know. And like, I did not like any of these songs. Like, I was like, these are just not the songs I'd listen to on my workout playlist. Like, they're not the vibe. I'm not feeling it. I just don't even like it. Like, it made the workout class longer, because I was like, when is a song that's like I like's gonna come on? Because these all are not my vibe. And I realized that is what misalignment feels like, is someone else has control the aux cord of your life. So you don't get to listen to the music you want to hear. You're not vibing. You're not in control of the aux. You're not like, yeah, this one's my jam. Oh, the next one, oh my gosh, yeah. Like, no. You're like, really, Jeff? Like this? Like what? No. And you don't want to hear any of the songs, but you just like politely pretend that you like it when you absolutely are like, I do not want to listen to this song, but I want to be polite, or I want to be kind, or I want to not ruffle feathers, or I want to whatever. And you just listen to these dreadful songs. And think about the difference in life when you're doing something that you enjoy, aka the music that you love is playing in the background of your day, of your life, of anything you have to do. You get things done. You're moving. You're happy. You're in flow. You're just going. And try to do the same thing in the most awful playlist of songs that you could not stand to hear ever. Almost like, I don't know, some people like elevator music, but let's just, for lack of me like ruining anyone's favorite artist, let's just say it's elevator music, and you're just like, I want to like get this HIIT workout done, and we're literally listening to like the most dreadful, like long, no lyrics elevator song, and it just feels, your body just feels it. It's like, what is this? And that is literally like alignment, your favorite playlist ever going through life. Misalignment, the most least favorite artist you could possibly come up with, is literally looped in your life. That to me is what it feels like. And why the heck would we want to move our whole life on someone else's playlist? Why wouldn't we create our own? Of course we would. You would never download Spotify Jeff's hot playlist that you absolutely hate and listen to it all day long. But yet, how many decisions do you make because other people want you to? I mean, just tell me. Because there becomes a point where it's just okay, Jeff, I'll listen to this one song one time. But when you're repeating your life like that, it's really hard to find your joy. Unless you just numb it out. That's when you start numbing, because you're like, if I have to listen to Jeff's playlist one more time, no. And then you're just like, shot of tequila, please, or whatever. And that's where the numbing comes in. This is just really a parody for life. That's literally how it works, because you don't like how it feels. It feels uncomfortable because it doesn't feel like what you want from this life. Do you know what I'm saying? And I did that so long in my previous life, where I was moving down the path of what everyone else probably thought I should be doing. Oh my gosh, her just marrying along her way, listening to this awful playlist. And look at her, she's so nice. But it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to make decisions based on other people's tunes. Do you know? And even moving in alignment with your favorite playlist, this is where I'm kind of can compare. Even during you listening to your favorite songs, things can happen. And here's the big, now we go back to it, another way to think of alignment versus misalignment. Alignment means, okay, I woke up this morning to go to a bar class on little sleep, right? Because I was like, my higher self would do that. She's waking up at 7 a.m. to go to a bar class, even though she just traveled all night last night. She's going to do that because that's what my higher self, and we talked about this already. I'm moving. I am her. So I am doing that. But during the class, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. Like this was a rough one. I don't know. That instructor, she was going at it. And the songs were great. Great playlist. Shout out to her in Hendersonville. But I was still like, this sucks. Like, would I want to be doing this right now? Like, it didn't really. I was kind of like, this is a tough one. But I still did it. And then after the fact, I was like, yeah. So that's like moving in alignment. Maybe the whole class, I wasn't like, yeah, I love this, even with the good tunes, because I was like sore, it was uncomfortable. Like I hadn't done some of those moves in a minute. Like she was kicking my butt. But it was still in alignment overall, even though it wasn't easy or with ease the entire time. Right? So you're still in alignment doesn't mean it's like not hard at all. There's not like a little parts of the thing that's uncomfortable. Misalignment though would be like, I say yes to something that I don't really want to do with people I don't really want to do it with. And I get there and the whole time I'm just like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I don't really have an interest in this conversation. I don't really like this spot. Maybe someone is smoking right next to me, which I'm not judging, but like that doesn't feel like alignment, getting like a cigarette smoke blown in my face. Like I would never want to do those things because it doesn't feel good the whole time for me. But sometimes we still say yes to stuff like that because we're like, oh, I've known Billy a long time, or, oh, you know, I probably should. I keep putting him off. And we put ourselves in these scenarios to please people that sometimes wouldn't even do the same for us. And I'm not saying do things because other people would do for you. But what I'm saying is a lot of times when you're someone that people pleases or you're someone that's doing things kind of to keep an appearance of kindness, it's really, you're not being kind to yourself. And this has been a big one for me because I was, and I've talked about it before, a big time people pleaser. I really I know I'm kind, like at the end of it. And it's not like an ego thing. And I know if you know me and you know my heart, like I do have a kind soul and I do want to be kind. But to me, putting myself on the back burner to do something I don't want to do for someone else is I've got to be kind to myself first. So I'm not doing it to be unkind to them if I don't want to go. It's because I want to honor myself and choose myself first and be kind to me. And I also don't want to ruin the vibe for everyone else. Like if you go and you do something and you don't want to be there, we've talked about energy before, that is felt. So you may think you're doing a favor by like showing up to something that you don't want to be at. Oh, look, I made an appearance. I did it, da, da, da. But your vibe is going to be kind of maybe throwing off the rest of the group. Like, why did that person even come? Like, they didn't even have a good time. They didn't even seem like they liked us. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? So you're kind of like now taking your I don't want to be here energy and like for the people that wanted to be there, the people that actually enjoyed that conversation and that music and whatever, because we're all on these different journeys. So when I explain this and I say this, it doesn't mean like going to that thing means these people are awful and they're all bad and like, you know, whatever. It's not from a place of judgment. It's just saying if it's not aligned for me, why would I go bring my misaligned energy to a group of people that are probably all having a great time? Just like if I brought on just any old podcast guest, because there was tons that I could have, and then I tried to figure out what I should say. I'm sure it could have still been great and good, but I would have just done it out of obligation instead of out of what felt aligned for me. And that's kind of where I'm getting for you, because I'm hoping that the wheels in your mind are spinning and you're thinking, where in my life am I doing things that are misaligned just to keep the peace, appear like I'm being kind, appear that I'm, part of this whole thing that I don't want to be a part of, all of that. And I will tell you the reason why alignment is important. If you're thinking, okay, I don't mind being inconvenienced because I just kind of want to keep my, I'd rather be inconvenienced myself than you hurt someone's feelings. Which I hear you, because I've thought like that before too. But I will tell you the people that really love you in your life, that really know you in your heart, are not going to be offended by you choosing what's best for you. And I tell you that because the people in my life that I truly love, if they didn't want to be somewhere that I had asked them to be for whatever reason that they have in their heart, I would not be offended. Now, hurt could be a little different. Maybe I'd be like, oh, I really would have liked it if they showed up. And if someone's hurt by something, like they still have that, it's still valid for them to feel that way, but that doesn't mean it's your job to make sure no one feels any kind of hurt. I know that sounds so rude, but it's not to be rude. I think it's almost worse to show up and pretend you wanted to be there than to be honest that you don't, and for the reasons why. And allow someone to feel hurt and give them, validate that, but that shouldn't change the decisions that you want to make with your own life, because we can't protect everyone. And we know this to be true, that, and I have learned this time and time again, and I have to remember this even sometimes when I record the pod. The last episode, I was so much in my head. Did I say the right things? Did I do the right things? Did I, all of these things, really self-critical, and I'm not sure why. And I realized the right people will find the right people, and some people, it won't be for them. And that's just life. You will do things that will be amazing and aligned for you, and then you'll have to say no, or you don't have to, but I hope that you will choose yourself, and you may have to say no to things that don't feel aligned for you, with the potential of that offending or hurting someone's feelings. And you have to navigate being all right with that, and knowing that it's really just about not ill intent, not hurting someone's feelings, not doing anything deceitful to be unfair to someone. It's literally because you're doing from a place of self-leadership. And that is really where I'm at right now. And so I have some big news on the personal front, and I can't wait to show you guys through my embodiment of alignment. And when I say embodiment, it's more you guys know, if you've listened early on, actions over words is huge for me. So of course, here I am yapping. So I have to be very mindful that if I'm preaching, in a sense, for lack of a better word, that we should move in alignment and embody this higher self and do all these things, that I'm all eyes on me. I have to show that truth. And so as I'm making these new decisions in my life and I'm moving through the world in alignment, I also am being very mindful that I'm moving in the ways that I'm truly believe is the way that you get to the best version of you. The way that you kind of come back to your own power, in the sense that all right, this is my life. I take ownership of it. I self-reflect on the things that I do. Although I still give myself grace, it's it can be all of those things. But you'll feel the best when your playlist is playing and the moves that you make are the ones that feel good for you, right? The plan A in life, that's what your soul wants. And I said this before, maybe, but it's been really true to me. I feel a lot of times when we move through life, we have a plan A and a plan B. People talk about this all the time. If you have a plan B, sometimes you just don't go all in on your plan A. And plan A, whether you have both or you're now on plan B, but you still remember what plan A is what your soul wants. Plan A is you moving in alignment. Plan B is just the safety, the no one will judge me, I won't ruffle feathers, I'll just keep the peace. There's a plan, a path, all of that. Because what I will say is that kind of how I started, when you move in alignment, like everything always has worked out. In this whole time that everything that's gone on in my life, even me starting the podcast from the couch, now it's gotten here. When I first started, I never would have thought it would. You don't have to see the end to know that it all will fall into place how it should. Because if you connect the dots backwards, it always has. It always has. So even if you're not exactly where you want to be, you're here and it has worked out. And if you want something more than what you have now, you have to move through the world differently. And if you know that your day-to-day feels like listening to someone else's playlist instead of the one you want to hear, then this might be your opportunity to take the aux cord and start playing your own tunes. Because I promise you, it's going to be so much more joyful when you do. And you deserve that. You're inherently worthy of a life that you absolutely love. And when you move in alignment, I personally believe a lot of the struggles that you think life has, or the struggles, kind of disappear. Because you are listening to what you want. You're choosing yourself. The struggles come because it's misaligned. It's like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I don't really like this. And then therefore that's all you're thinking about. And then that creates, like we've talked about before, your thoughts are like, oh my gosh, I have all this struggle. I have to struggle. I have to get by. Because that's where you're at. But when you're just, this is like exactly the direction I want to go. Like I'm just, like you won't know the whole path. It's not, but that's the trail you wanted to take. And when it's the trail you want to take, you're not finding the struggle in everything that you do, because you're enjoying the view, because it's the view you want to see, because it's the path you want to take. So your mind isn't seeing the struggles, the challenges, the problems. Your mind's going, this is what I wanted, and this is part of it, and this is exciting, and here we go, and let's see where it takes me. Huge difference. Huge difference. So as I end this, I just wanted to say that I was not intending to ever be dishonest with y'all. You know that I'm overly probably honest, but I think it geared well to my soul to talk about alignment. And I hope that you will move through the world with a little more alignment, a little more choosing yourself, a little more knowing that you don't owe anyone an old version of you. The version of you were yesterday can be completely different today. It's really your world. Like, I know they talk about main character, but main character energy. You are the main character. You are the only one. At the end of the day, you are it. And everything's been aligned before. It's all ended up working out. So whatever path you choose to take, it's going to work out. So maybe choose the one you actually want to move through. Thank you for listening to Wandering the Wild Mess with Heather Morgan. You matter.